This video is a review of the ellipse and its properties. An ellipse, by dictionary definition, is a regular oval shape traced by a point moving in a plane so that the sum of its distances from two other points, the foci, is constant. This is what an ellipse can look like either vertically or horizontally. It has a center at HK, two vertices, two covertices, and foci. In the first ellipse, the major axis is y and the minor is x, and in the second, the major axis is x and the minor axis is y. The major axis is where the foci are. So what is the standard equation of an ellipse, not formula? So h and k in this equation would be the points of the center. A would be the distance from the center to the vertex on the major axis, and b would be the distance from the center to the vertex on the minor axis, and it always equals 1. So in this example, 4 and 6 would be A and B, and 0 and 0 would be the points of the center. Now let's talk about finding the foci, or two focal points, of an ellipse. The foci can be found on the major axis of an ellipse, either x or y. A and B would be the distances from the center to the vertices, and C would be the distance from the center to the foci. We can then use the equation c squared equals a squared minus b squared to find either the foci or A and B, depending on what we are given. In this example, x minus 4 squared over 25 plus y minus 1 squared over 9 equals 1. We can use a and b in order to find c using that same equation. C squared equals a squared minus b squared, c squared equals 25 minus 9, c squared equals 16, take the square root, c equals 4. Now let's talk about eccentricity. Eccentricity is essentially a ratio that can be used to find similar ellipses as well as other parts of the equation such as c and a and b. The formula for eccentricity is c over a. C again is the distance from the center to the foci, and a is the distance from the center to the vertex on the major axis. In this example, C would be 4 and A would be 5. So c squared equals a squared minus b squared would turn into 4 squared equals 5 squared minus 3 squared. So c over a equals 4 over 5. Now let's talk about completing the square twice in order to find the equation of an ellipse. First, you have the original equation 4x squared plus 9y squared minus 48x plus 72y plus 144 equals 0. From this, you would move the loose number over to the other side and group the x stuff and y stuff together. Then factor out whatever is on the squared terms, divide through by whatever you factored out of the x stuff, then divide through by whatever you factored out of the y stuff. Next, complete the square by taking half of the coefficients of the first terms, square them, and add the squares into the appropriate spaces on both sides of the equation, simplify on the right and convert to squared form on the left, and whatever value you get on the right side, divide through by it, so the right side becomes equals 1, so that you have the standard form of an ellipse. Once we have this standard equation, we can use it to find things like the foci. For all ellipses, foci are the same and can be found using that same c squared equals a squared minus b squared. So here we have what the foci look like for all ellipses. Using that equation, we can find c. And in this equation, 6, 4 is the center. We can use that to find a and b, and then to find c. C equals 6 squared minus 4 squared, which equals 2 root 5. Plug that into the equation and you have the foci.